All right. Welcome back. Welcome back one more time with yours truly, the counselor, Mr. James Horton. Welcome back to my class. All right. Today we're going to be going and dealing with a topic called the domestic conduct disorder. It's called the domestic conduct disorder. But before we begin, and I begin the class with you all, I would like to again invite you to my channel, Domestic Violence with the Counselor, Mr. James Horton. I would like you all to join in my particular channel by subscribing, pushing many likes, and sending my channel to many of your friends to help build on my show and build on what I'm building on when I build on you and help lift you up. This is a wonderful, wonderful chance that you get as you watch my channel. You'll get the chance to get a level of free therapy. You know, everybody needs some help and some support and some therapy. The word therapy can kind of scare some people off, but we all need it. You know, we get caught up sometimes in the idea of thinking, you know, our people or whatever culture or race your people may be, we don't need that we're strong, but everybody needs someone to talk to and needs some advice in some area from one to another. Okay, so we're going to be dealing with this, and I also want to let you know I have I finally got this chance to work with some people and start my own reality show, so this thing can go much broader than just Oakland, where I've started out and have been for 20 years. So it's going to be just, I'm going to have you guys subscribing to my channel, get into the page where you can fill out an application, and you can send a video in of yourself after answering a few questions. Not too many questions. It's not a hard qualification. You know, we're going to be looking for certain people that can just be honest and who are group appropriate. So just try me out. Try it out. All right. Okay. This paper is called the domestic conduct disorder. Right. It's called the domestic conduct disorder. It says conduct disorder is a type of behavior disorder. It's when a child or an adult has an antisocial behavior. He or she may disregard basic social standards and rules. He or she may also be irresponsible, skip school, or have runaway delinquent behavior, steal or do other things to violate the rights of others. They may physically harm animals or other people. They may commit crimes or do harm such as committing assault or rape. These behaviors sometimes happen together, or one or more may not occur without the other. What causes conduct disorder in a child? What causes conduct disorder in a child or in an adult? Experts believe that many factors play a role in domestic conduct disorder. Some of these factors are brain damage, a traumatic event, or child abuse, past school failure, social problems, child rearing, and peer pressure. Domestic conduct disorder describes and defines one's physical maturity clashing with one's mental maturity, right? One's physical maturity clashing with one's mental maturity, right? Now, you know how that is. You say, man, that guy is 40 years old, but he's acting like he's 7, right? So these are signs of domestic conduct disorder. When we confuse things, when we are in one place, but we're actually in another place, mentally and verbally and physically even, you know, and we tend to not be in line where we ought to be, where we should be. So these are just some topics I'm trying to put out with you to broaden your mind, lift you up, and just get this thing jump started, because many parts of our brain we typically don't use. We might not know that, but if you do some studies or research, pull your phone out, ask Siri some questions, you'll find out where I'm coming from about not using many or most parts of your brain. Okay? Now, number one says, ask yourself questions. Ask yourself questions. Number one, domestic conduct disorder. Are you known to be in order or out of order when you're conducting yourself in the American public eye? Are you in order or out of order when you're conducting yourself in the American public eye? It's hard. It's hard to see ourselves inside that frame. It's hard to see our picture of how we're acting sometime when we're still locked inside the frame. We gotta step outside the frame and take a real serious, open-minded look of behaviors and what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. All right, number two, domestic conduct disorder. Was your conduct and your behavior disorder learned in your home or transferred or acquired from your genes? Was it learned in your home, or do you believe it was a blood transfer, a transference in your genes, making you act like grandma now and like papa now, and they had some loose screws too, and do you just think it's in the blood, right, or what? Okay, just a question I want to ask you. All right, number three, domestic conduct disorder. Do you agree or disagree that parents who refuse to love and raise their children may have a domestic conduct disorder, or do you believe the absent parent or do you believe there are absent parents who domestically are out of order, right? Domestic conduct disorder. Do you agree or disagree that parents who refuse to love and raise their children may have a domestic conduct disorder, or do you believe the absent parent who are absent parents who have a domestic out of order, right? Which one do you think? Are they just out of order, or do they have a mental stage that relates to this topic that has them not being in order in that particular zone we're talking about? All right. Number four, it says domestic conduct disorder, living in an illusion. Domestic conduct disorder, living in an illusion. Do you feel or believe in the illusion of inclusion, or do you believe in the illusion of confusion, right? Do you believe in the illusion of inclusion? The illusion of inclusion is like having an illusion that life is stable, having an illusion of life being like, oh, I'm with my people. I'm down with a heck of a group. I'm down with the posse. I'm down with my family, and it can all be an illusion, right? And of inclusion, right? Because you are probably the only one including all these people there. These people might not be there at all, and so they call it illusion of inclusion, right? And it's all in your head. Or it can be illusion of confusion, right? And it's all related to the same sort of mixed up family of thoughts, right? Number five, domestic conduct disorder. Domestic conduct in order or domestic conduct in order or disorder. When you're supporting castration, put downs, pull downs, and painting false pictures of others, do you believe your conduct is in order, or do you believe your domestic conduct is in a domestic conduct disorder? Domestic conduct in order or out of order. When you're supporting castration, meaning cutting things down, putting people down, pulling people down, and painting false pictures of others, do you believe your conduct is in order, or do you believe your domestic conduct is in a domestic conduct disorder, right? Right? Which, you know, I mean, that kind of stuff is really, as I would put it, my fingerprint on it would be like it's out of order. You know, I believe and I know that there's so many other things to do in a day, so many other things one can do in a month, a year, a process of a 3-year plan, than to be wasting our time talking and tearing others down, painting pictures, even killing people with our mouths, saying things that we shouldn't say, you know, instead of in which we should be building others up, you know, building others up. It's always better to do a positive instead of a negative. Many people believe they gain things out of doing the negative, but I disagree. Your counselor disagrees. All right? And I hope you disagree too, and you can fix some of those things you might be caught up in. All right? Number 6, domestic conduct disorder, defining the rule of thumb that states a man could beat his wife with any object as long as it's not thicker than his thumb. Right? That was a actual, you know, kind of law going on. It still goes on in other countries and stuff like that. You know, so to be able to, you know, if your wife was wearing something too sexy, and still in other countries, if she was disobeying you, you had a right to beat her with an object as long as it wasn't thicker than your thumb. It's called, you know, the rule of thumb, the thumb law. Look it up, right? Now it's going to start over again. Domestic conduct disorder, defining the rule of thumb that states a man can beat his wife with any object as long as it was thicker than his thumb. Do you believe the rule of thumb was a conduct of order, or do you believe it was a law and a conduct of disorder, right? Do you believe it was a conduct of disorder? I believe it was a disorder and a shame kind of a thing that people and women and the family had to deal with. My family dealt with it. My family dealt with my father abusing my mother, jumping on my mother, putting my mother in situations where she got jumped on by other women. My father was doing some very, very hurtful, awful things that, you know, hurting my mother and hurting us and doing all that. But when the police came to our house, the police would always ask, were my parents married? And so once they found out that they were married, they never took my father to jail. They kind of just accepted that the male species had a right to control and own his woman as property, right? And people would say, as I had a person that came to my job who was giving a past job that I had, and she was an inspector. She inspected programs and stuff like that. And she was telling me that I shouldn't use words like his woman and all this kind of stuff. He said that I was being too ruly in a sense when I was speaking to my clients. And I remember mentioning to her, I said, hey, I'm not trying to disrespect anyone. I said, I'm talking as Americans talk. This is the way we all have talked. And if I'm wrong, then we need to chastise America for their tongue and our way of talking. She was like, what do you mean? I said, well, I didn't mean that the man owned the woman. When I said his woman or his wife, we use that commonly on a day-to-day basis. On a daily basis. I told her, I said, what happens? I asked her a question. I said, what happens when a person gets married? A woman gets married and her father is present at the wedding. And she said, I don't know. I said, well, what happens is that he gives his daughter away, right? He gives his daughter away. And he said, give away? I said, yeah. How could a person give their daughter away if they're not looking at the daughter as the father's property, right? So I said, well, it's not me that wrote this stuff up. I said he couldn't give away something that he didn't own or didn't have possession of. So our marriage cycle describes this thing more in a property than I do. So this is what I was trying to explain to the ladies. So thank you guys for allowing me to share that. So number 7, domestic conduct disorder. For those of you who spend more time with your friends and less time with your relationship partner, do you feel your domestic conduct is in order, or could your domestic conduct be out of order? Right? When you spend more time with your homies, with your girlfriends, with your other friends, with your new friends, and you're not coming home to spend time with your woman friend or your man friend or your man husband or your spouse, is it in order or is it a disorder, right? When you're not coming home. I mean, what is a relationship if you never come home? If you never do anything together, if you're always doing something with someone else? Is that a relationship or is that a ship? Sounds like a ship that just keeps shipping out to sea, right? And never docking, right? So, thought I'd share that. All right, number 8, domestic conduct. Domestic conduct up in age, always acting underage. Domestic conduct up in age, always acting underage. Do you feel or believe you're experiencing a conduct age order or a domestic conduct disorder? Domestic conduct up in age, always acting underage. Do you feel or believe you're experiencing a conduct age order or a domestic conduct disorder, right? Now, it is either you in order with your age or you in a disorder, because being, like I said previously, being 45, 50, and that little girl keep coming out, that little boy keep coming out, during serious conversations when somebody's trying to have a serious dialogue with their partner or with others, and you are sounding or speaking or behaving like you 10, then that sounds like that's a disorder here, not something that's in place, in order kind of a thing, right? It's just something to look at. Look in the mirror at yourself. Talk it over. Matter of fact, after you have many of your disruptive confrontations with your partner and other people, rehab that conversation with yourself and just sit in the mirror and speak it out and look at yourself in the mirror and see how it sounds or how it was sounding to yourself, right? You don't have to have nobody around. Just try it. And you might feel like, dang, you look like a little boy, or you look or sound like a little girl. So I'm just trying to give you some pointers on how to examine yourself. All right? Okay, number 9, we're going to close this out. Domestic conduct disorder. When it comes to your conduct when people are watching you compared to when no one's watching you, who are you when everybody's watching, and who are you when you feel or believe no one's watching, right? Like who are you? Domestic conduct disorder. When it comes to your conduct when people are watching you compared to when no one's watching you, who are you when everybody's watching? And who are you when you feel and believe no one's watching you, right? Like, who are you? Because, we got some people, man, secretive. I mean, I don't just point fingers at y'all, because role playing is something else. Role playing can take place even when no one's watching, right? Some people role play in the house, play like actors. I remember I used to be in the mirror when no one's around, acting out my role that I was going to be in one day, playing out a role. I remember even stuffing clothes inside pants and making jackets and using the salt shaker to be the head. Had a little dummy on the side, my little friend, right? I mean, early stages of life, things we did and practiced on early in life, and later found ourselves still doing, some of us. I haven't done that one in a long, long time, but some of us are still acting out and playing out roles and switching roles within a day. Some of us are 4 to 5 people in one day. So the question is, who are you when everybody's watching? And who are you really, really when nobody's watching? All right, that's going to be it for yours truly, the counselor, Mr. James Horton. Thank you again for attending my group. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Send my channel out to your friends and associates. Let's build this thing up, subscribe, and let's get this show off the ground that's up and coming. Thank you again for attending my group.